As I mentioned before in my SSX Tricky video, I've got a soft spot for snowboarding games. I have no idea why or how those feelings first arose, but 1080 snowboarding for the N64 was probably the culprit. Back in 1998, if I had an ice pack on my thumb, it was likely that I had just rented 1080 and had been playing it all night. It's been a long time since those days of flying down the air make, thrashing the stick wildly to get a bigger combo, so I was eager to play Daniel from Florida's donated copy of this classic N64 racer. Thanks, Dan. The highlight of 1080 is its racing, which set consoles on fire back in the day. Fortunately, there's a lot of snow to put out those fires. The environments are rich, with a couple different paths to each of the 6 race courses. From the snow in your face to the wake of your board, the graphical effects show why this game was at the top of its class in the late 90s. You choose from 5 racers and equip them with a licensed Lamar snowboard. 3 difficulty settings inform the AI's play, and add some more difficult courses to the lineup. For those with nerves and hands of steel, completing the highest difficulty awards the player with more unlockable characters. If racing's not your thing and you'd rather just show off, there are 2 trick attack modes which also open up the big air and half-pipe courses. The trick mechanics revolve around the control stick, the B button for grabs, and the R button for spins. While the grabs are simple enough to understand, the spins are significantly less so. A 360 takes a Zangief-esque full spin of the stick. And a 540? Well, you do a 360 and a 180 in sequence, which is easier said than done. The eponymous 1080 is a 9-action monstrosity that brings in the B and Z buttons, and good luck getting that much air. And even if you do, good luck landing it. 1080 certainly plays the more realistic end of the scale, where a huge jump isn't effortless to stand up from, and where repeated impact will take its toll. Fill up your damage meter, and you're done, son. End of story. Tapping the Z button upon landing can help with your stability, but more often than not you'll go tumbling. And even if you don't, you're liable to stop down for a moment to right yourself, costing you valuable momentum and giving your opponent the edge. Unlike the SSX series, where there's a direct incentive for being daring and throwing tricks into a race, it's almost like 1080 punishes the same behavior. Maybe this is the difference between this Japanese-developed game and the more flamboyant Canadian interpretation. Add in some rather rubber bandy support to your opponent, and you've got a recipe for frustration. It can be heartbreaking sometimes to go back to a game that meant the world to you a decade ago, but nowadays feels restrictive, clunky, and sometimes downright punitive. Then again, I wouldn't appreciate snowboarding games today as much had it not been for Nintendo's award-winning effort. Its successor, 1080 Avalanche, stayed a bit too true to the original as the industry passed it by. But if you want bragging rights, any achievement on 1080 snowboarding stands taller than that pine tree I just impacted at full force. Now if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna go get a bandage and write rubber bandy in my Scrabble dictionary.